Turning to some other news now, Bangladesh has been gripped by another day of protests despite universities agreeing to a government request to shut their doors indefinitely. The move was hoped to lower the temperature of these student-led protests. But in Dhaka, where 6 people have already lost their lives, sadness quickly turned to anger and violence.
Students in Dhaka mourn their dead classmates. But police forcibly dispersed a funeral ceremony and stepped up efforts to contain weeks of rallies demanding equal access to public sector jobs.
We were returning after the funeral. They set off sound grenades, blasted homemade explosives and lobbed tear gas at us. What is the reason for all of this? If the administration doesn't want to cooperate, how will the protests remain peaceful?
The government has ordered schools and universities to close indefinitely. Days of protests leave 6 people dead and many more injured. Protesters and students loyal to the ruling party, Awami League, attacked each other with bricks and bamboo rods. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina ensured culprits will be held accountable, regardless of their political affiliation.
I firmly declare that those who carried out murders, looting and violence, whoever they are, I will make sure that they will be given the appropriate punishment.
Angered by high youth unemployment, the students are pushing for nationwide protests. They are demanding the abolition of a quota system that reserves some public sector jobs for the relatives of war veterans.
They can make their decisions after killing us. We're ready to die right now. If they want to kill us, they can do it. We wanted to talk, but now they will have to make their decisions once we're dead.
As the situation remains tense, rights groups and the United Nations have urged Bangladesh to protect peaceful protesters from all acts of violence and deadly use of force.
I have DW reporter Binesh Javid here with me in the studio for more on this story. Binesh, give us some background here. Why have we seen these protests turn so violent?
Claire, Amnesty International says that they have authenticated and analyzed eyewitnesses' account, videos, photographic evidence that confirms that unlawful police violence was used on the protesters, and that the police failed to ensure protection of the students. Witnesses have also confirmed to Amnesty International that there is a multi-year pattern of violence by this group, Bangladesh Chhatra League, which is a student body affiliated with the government. And they say that they have seen, the eyewitnesses say that their members they were armed with rods, sticks, clubs, some were even holding revolvers, and they did not discriminate between men and women. They attacked all students. We also spoke to one of the main organizers of these protests movement, Asif Mahmood. Let's have a listen to what he said.
Bangladesh's government has used its agitators and security forces to attack our peaceful demonstrations. So far, we've been told of 10 deaths, and we've been facing massive attacks for the last 3 days. Protesters are being killed. Even at the time I was recording this video, students from our private universities were protesting. Bullets were fired at them. We came to know that the driver of an ambulance that was transporting an injured student was shot to death.
So, Binesh, really serious claims here. We should say the government is pointing the finger at the opposition behind this. But first, can you give us a little bit of context behind these? Why is this quota system so contentious?
Okay. So, Claire, the quota system was introduced in 1972 by the government of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who's father of the current Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. And basically, at that time, the government wanted to support the freedom fighters who had helped Bangladesh win independence from Pakistan. And over years, this system saw many changes. But in its current form, if the quota system is implemented, it reserves 56% of government jobs for categories. Most of the bulk of it goes to relatives of the freedom fighters, also women, people with disabilities, people who belong to disadvantaged districts, and also indigenous communities. Now, the protesters say that it's unfair and basically it is giving political gains to the ruling party, Awami League. Even what is very interesting is that many of the students who are protesting are women, and the system gives quota to women, but they say that we do not need this quota. So they are raising their voice against it, and it seems that the government, as of now, doesn't seem to change anything.
Yeah, so they see it as politically advantageous for the government, I suppose. What I'm still confused about, Binesh, maybe you can shed some light on this. The Supreme Court, they've suspended this court order that had reinstated the quota system. So why are we still seeing students out protesting?
Yeah, so simply the students don't trust the government of Sheikh Hasina. They do not believe that the government is sincere. So even though the court paused the quota system, the students believe that the government, because it has it is in the political interest of the ruling party, so basically they will find a way to keep it implemented. What is also very interesting is that when these protests began, they were mostly peaceful, but then the government of Sheikh Hasina actually called these protesters Razakar. It's an offensive term used to call people collaborators of Pakistan. And that really angered and triggered the students, which eventually we saw led to violence, because many of the students believe that when Sheikh Hasina called them this term, Razakar or collaborators of Pakistan, it actually angered the Bangladesh Chhatra League, the student body supported by the government, and made them more violent towards them.
Binesh, thank you so much for that important context. That is our reporter, Binesh Javed, here with me in the studio.